Hello, beautiful kindreds, and welcome. We are going to be talking about the zodiac sign of Pisces today in this video. So let's just get right into it. So, the astrological sign of Pisces is a divine feminine, mutable, water sign, powered by the planet Jupiter, and the natural ruler of the 12th house of spirituality, healing, and transcendence. Okay, so in this video, similar to the Cancer and Scorpio videos, this will be an introduction to Piscean energy, and I'll be using tarot to help pull forward some of the bigger topics that are covered by Pisces energy. So let's kind of talk about the energy that we have out now. So Pisces are represented by the fish. And I would argue different than their water sisters, Cancer and Scorpio. The fish are the only creatures, again, that relates to the zodiac signs, that are full on, all in the realm of water. Right? The crab can go in and out of water, can live on land, live on water. I think Scorpios generally just live outside of water, right? So there's a distance there between water and Scorpio energy. But the fish not only are in water, but they need water. Like, they can't live outside of water. So the fish are like fully immersed, all in to water energy. And I feel like this plays a very critical role in understanding Piscean energy. Piscean energy is often associated with empathy because Pisces are fully immersed, and there's a symbiotic relationship between that Pisces, that fish, and the water, right? The fish need the water to survive. It can't live without it. All of those things that are connected and related to water energy, like the fish, like dwell in there, right? They live in there, and they're in many ways a part of a completely different world than all of the other beings, right? All of the other kind of creatures, the land dwellers, humans in general. And that in that kind of face, I like to relate Pisces energy to this statement: what is above is also below. So thinking above as in the cosmos, which is like our literal solar system, but can also be connected to like spirituality, right? What's above, what is beyond our corporeal existence, that is Piscean energy. And then what is below, like the depths of the ocean, if we were to think of each zodiac sign, or each of the water zodiac signs, as a different body of water. Cancer might be a river, Scorpio might be a lake, and Pisces would be the ocean, right? There's a vastness and a depth to the ocean, where some people even say we know more about the cosmos, like our solar system and the universe, than we do about our ocean, right? Like, we're sharing a planet, but it's a completely different world, right? They're a completely different world, completely different creatures. The rules are a little bit different, right? It's just a completely different zone. I will also argue that the ocean is very cold, right? It's cold. The deeper you go, the chillier it gets. So again, like, it's a completely different world. The rules are different. What kind of governs it in a lot of ways it's a little bit different than how we function on land. Piscean energy is mutable. And so I interpret mutable energy as beyond just having the ability to change, and I connect it to needing change. If change is not happening, Pisces don't feel right. Like, there needs to be a level of flow, a level of movement, which mutability and water actually work really well together, because water wants to flow, water wants to move. Movement, of course, is change. And so I feel like there's sort of a kind of understanding between the mode of how Pisces functions and, this water quality to Piscean energy. So there's sort of a comfort there with how Pisces functions. Whereas I feel like there's sort of a chafing or a dissonance between, Scorpio and sort of the water element, right? There's sort of a rebellion energy, a resistance energy there. Where Pisces energy, there's sort of a natural feeling like, yes, like this is exactly how things should be. They should be moving, they should be changing, they should be flowing, ever changing and ever growing. Which this idea of ever changing and ever growing, it's very much so connected to Jupiter, which is the astrological planetary energy that powers Pisces energy. I use ancient placements. You're not going to hear me talking about Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto on my channel because I use the ancient placements for the signs. So Piscean energy is the divine feminine side to the planet Jupiter. So what does that mean? That means it's the side to Jupiter that faces away from the sun. And that really just means like the divine feminine side, which is represented by yin energy, is the sort of mysterious side, right? The side that's in darkness, that isn't completely revealed to the ego or to the conscious mind. It is the side that is connected to the reflective spaces, the dark spaces, those internal workings, the unseen energies and entities. That is related and connected to kind of that side facing away from the sun. I hesitate to say dark and light because then it implies good or bad. These energies just are what they are. They're not good or bad. It depends on how the power or the energy is applied and who they're applied to and their interpretation of the application of that energy that makes it good or bad. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's just dive into the tarot sort of connections or references. So we're going to actually start with the High Priestess energy. So it's debatable whether or not the High Priestess is connected to Cancer or connected to Pisces. My interpretation here is that, of course, that it's connected to Piscean energy. Why? Because the High Priestess in tarot is connected to spirituality. So it's basically like the High Priestess, which is the divine feminine counterpart to the Hierophant. Both of these entities talk about morals and values. The High Priestess talks about morals and values that are developed by your internal spaces, right? Your spirituality, the inner workings of the world, the connection to a higher, power entity, the collective conscious. That's where your morals and values are derived from, and you stand solid in that. Whereas the Hierophant, the morals and values are developed more on the outside world, right? The world or the collective, in a corporeal sense, is kind of developing those rules and regulations that everyone else is expected to follow. But that High Priestess is about that inner moral compass and inner values that are developed personal to each individual person. And again, can do a whole entire video talking about the High Priestess and all that stuff. But Piscean energy, again, what is above is below. That Piscean energy is definitely connected to the spiritual realms. And I feel like that is partly due to the fact that, well, Pisces is the natural ruler of the 12th house. Because Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac, it's the 12th sign in the zodiac. It sort of has, it has a kind of sort of residual energy. Like some might say that it receives residual energy from all of the other 11 signs. My take on it is that Pisces is made up of all of the other signs that are together. And it's that combination that sort of makes something new, that makes something different. And that is why Pisces energy is able to has this intimate connection with literally anybody and everybody, and why empathy is a calling card of Piscean energy, because Pisces is a part of all the other signs. And so she completely understands and can step into those different energies at various different times as needed to be able to literally feel what other people are feeling, which is different than understanding, right? Understanding that someone is sad is different than feeling sad as they are feeling sad. Being able to sort of absorb their energy, take it into yourself. Their energy is your energy. And if you're a high vibrational functioning Pisces, you can then expunge that energy, right? Release that energy back into the collective, right? Release that energy back into the ether after you have felt it. And then you can be so compassionate and just have such a deep connection with people on a very personal level, because again, you feel what they feel. It's not just about understanding their feelings. It's about feeling exactly what they feel, channeling that, and then being able to kind of react or respond to that. And the hangman energy, I feel like in some ways is maybe similar to this idea of sort of taking on the position or the perspective or point of view of somebody else by like literally doing it. Again, you're literally feeling someone else's feeling. You're absorbing their energy. You're literally putting yourself into a different position to be able to see things in a different way. And when you do that, you become enlightened, right? You see that you're like, oh, wow, I've never understood the world in this way, or I never understood this person in this way. And to me, it's that the intimate quality to me is about the actual feeling, right? The experience. Whereas Cancer energy has the shell, right? The crab shell, and it's more about protecting your soft and squishy, your own personal soft and squishy spaces than it is about getting in, being able to relate to someone else in an intimate way. Scorpio energy is literally removed, right? There's an emotional distance there so that, they can plot, plan, do what they need to do in order to achieve the outcome, which is of a Mars, right? Achieving that outcome is of Mars. Piscean energy is about broadening and deepening understanding of being in all its ways, shapes, forms, manifestations, just growth and expansion. That's what that's what Jupiterian energy is all about. Growth and expansion, more, wider, deeper, all of that. And so being able to change your perspective, right? If you've lived your whole life upright and you're just walking around life upright, you can go the furthest distance away, which is what Sagittarius would do, right? They want to travel and do all these sorts of things in the world itself. But Pisces is like, what if I just changed my perspective? What if I just lived life upside down? Like how might I see the world differently that way, right? How might the world be built if it was built by someone who saw the world upside down, right? That's something that Piscean energy would think and would want to kind of like ponder on and investigate, again, from that internal perspective and point of view. Moving on to our next tarot, Piscean energy is connected to the Knight of Cups. This is, again, debatable. Some people might debate this, but my interpretation is that Pisces energy is the Knight of Cups. So all of the court cards relate to a certain type, like a certain elemental energy. For example, pages are of earth, the queens are of water. And again, this is debatable, but my interpretation is that the knights are of air. All of the knights have a kind of a foundation or a base of air, and the kings have a foundation or base of fire energy. So the Knight of Cups, because it's of cups and cups is water, the Knight of Cups therefore is water and air. My brain stopped functioning for a second. It's okay. Yeah, so the Knight of Cups is of air and water. Why air? Air energy because messages, right? Messages, communication. And also when air and water come together, they form discernment. They're both flow, they're both moving. They want to flow, they want to move, they want to change. There's a flexibility to them. And there is a level of speed and agility, right, to air energy, which is why they're connected, why I connect them to the night energy. because air wants to move and move fast. And we know that our knights are on horses. They have transportation, so they're able to move fast, and they carry messages. They carry messages outside of the kingdom, where our pages stay nice and safe inside of the kingdom and our queens are safe inside of the castle. Our knights go forth and they carry the messages out into the world, which is very Jupiterian, right? Out into the world. Jupiter, as far as hemispheres goes, Jupiter doesn't have any placements in the personal hemispheres. Like, it doesn't have any in houses 1 through 6. It's not connected to any of those houses. It's in the outer expression, or the kind of the outer world, and how we interact with the outer world. That's Jupiter energy. And so very Knight of Cups energy, right? There definitely is a sensitivity to the Knight of Cups energy, because that emotions, but it's carrying sort of this cup energy, this idea of emotions and connectivity and companionship and partnership and love and all these sorts of things. It's carrying that message outside of the kingdom and out into the world. And so I feel like, to another note, our knights are equipped with armor. And so when we think about Pisces, we don't really think about Piscean energy being protected, right? Because they're represented by the fish, and the fish, they're kind of squishy, and they don't have like a shell like a crab or like a scorpion. So what could possibly be the armor for Piscean energy? Boundaries. Boundaries are Pisces armor. So a high performing, high vibrational Pisces who is mature has very strong, very secure boundaries that they absolutely uphold, right? You uphold your boundaries. And I feel like this could absolutely be related and connected to our next card, which is the 8 of Cups. But you have your boundaries, and if those boundaries are crossed, you are holding that person, entity, etc. responsible, right? You're not just sticking around. You're not being wishy-washy. You're saying, no, this is my boundary. You crossed it. If you cross it again, I'm gone. This, whatever the consequence is, like I'm either leaving or you're not having access to this, blah, 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 right? Whatever the consequences are. And I feel like our 8 of Cups could kind of be something that you can see in that relation. So the 8 of Cups, oftentimes when it shows up, it's a difficult card, right? But to me, it's a very empowering card, which is represented by all this red, right? The red in the shoes, right? The red represents kind of desire and passion. Is that, and courage. You have the courage to walk away from, at first glance, actually might look like a really high performing, like all the cups, they're upright, they're kind of stacked on top of each other. There's definitely been time and energy spent in building up whatever this thing is. But this person is walking away from it. Why? Because it's not aligned, right? It's not aligned, or they're, they're not, there's not a fulfillment there. There's not an alignment there. And so, basically with holding the power to be able to walk away, even when there's quote unquote a lot to lose. And this actually reminds me, this is a story time moment, completely not directly related to this. I am a Pisces moon, sun, moon, rising in all 3 of the water signs. And so this is why I have this channel. But I had a job. This particular situation is about a job. And for all intents and purposes, it was like fine, like it was paying the bills, but it just wasn't aligned. And like every day I spent there, it was kind of torturous. And so eventually I walked away and moved into something else that was more aligned. And it was really hard to like convince myself, because, the opportunities from a financial standpoint were different and all these other sort of things. But I tell you, I am so happy that I made that decision and I took that leap of faith and took that step of courage. And I know that courage isn't typically connected to Piscean energy, but having the strength to be able to connect with yourself and with others in such a deep and profound way takes some courage. Like it's a bit of a risk, right? But I feel like that's why the next 2 tarot cards are just absolutely some of the most beautiful energy in the tarot, and it's connected and related to Piscean energy. So the Nine of Cups, which basically is sort of like self-fulfillment. Like, you are in an amazing place as an individual, right? You got all your cups behind you. You're confident. There's a level of wisdom there. There's a level of, energy and excitement with the red hat and the orange shoes. And you're sitting there, you're proud, back straight. Everything is like you're looking out into the world. There's sort of like an exciting and hopeful energy to the Nine of Cups, and it's very personal. Like, you are killing it on a personal level is, to me, what the Nine of Cups is all about. And again, when you are that Pisces that made that tough decision, right? You said, no, this is what I'm going to do. These are my boundaries. I know what my alignment is, right? Because I'm the High Priestess and I'm connected to the bigger picture and my life path and purpose. And so I'm able to make the hard decisions so that I can get to this place of self-fulfillment and just like really just feeling empowered, personal empowerment from the inside out, feeling good personally. And then that leads to the Ten of Cups, which again is one of the most beautiful energies in the zodiac sign. And to me, it's very Jupiterian in quality, right? It's like you have it's like emotional fulfillment on a higher level, right? And your world outside reflects your world inside. So when you're feeling, you're aligned and you're doing, what you feel like you should be doing, you're following your path and purpose, you're connecting to people, you're having these awesome experiences and perspectives and points of views, and you're growing spiritually, emotionally, etc. Then you get to a place like this, right? Where the people and the world around you is a reflection of your sort of emotional, spiritual, all of the work and energy that you put into your watery walk and, life. So happiness, joy, fulfillment, inner peace, inner prosperity, which is then again reflected outside of yourself, in the world around you, in the relationships and connections that you have built for yourself. So again, Piscean energy, and gosh, I could just talk so much more on so many of these topics. There's so much to get into, but Piscean energy is a collection of all of the energies make up that Piscean energy, which is why Pisces is able to literally feel what other people are feeling. And I feel like that power grants Pisces the ability to connect the world to the world beyond, right? So the link between spirituality, the link between that shadow work and past life, future life, ancestral energy, mediums. A lot of mediums have that Piscean energy as a part of them. Or strengthening that energy, because they are the link. They are the link. They are the connection between this world and beyond this world. Whatever you want to call that, right? Because Pisces energy is able to literally absorb temporarily other people's energy, they're able to have that intimate connection to people. They're able to be compassionate. They're able to be healers of people. And that's really powerful. And, the application of that power, right, can obviously be positive or negative, high vibrational or low vibrational, but this, the power itself is incredible, right? To get into someone else's space, to influence in a deep way, right? When you're able to feel what other people are feeling, you're able to connect with them on such a deep level and in an intimate level. You have a level of influence there as well, right? Yes, you can be influenced, and I feel like a lot of the times that's what's focused on, right? That Pisces are getting swashed all over the place, but it's like they also have the power to influence as well in a deep and profound way, because they're able to make those deep connections to people. All right. So I think I've talked enough about this for now. I hope that this introduction to Pisces energy was helpful for you. If something did resonate, please do leave a comment down below. Let me know what topic or topics that were brought up in this conversation that you want to know more about. Click like on this video if we're not already connected here. Please do subscribe if you are interested in more information and more deep dives on the element of water and all of the kind of entities and bits that are connected to it. Thank you again for your time, your beautiful energy, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming message. Bye.